Hello everyone and welcome to my first ever Rebels episode review. This one is called Mystery of the Chopper Base and we'll be talking about it here. I'm joined with my buddy Anthony, if you want to say hello.
Hey, what's up?
And we're going to be looking at this episode in a top 5 format because I think that that's very interesting, and we're going to be talking about the top 5 most shocking moments that we got in this episode. Overall, I think it was a pretty good episode, a lot of build up to the next one, and let's go ahead and just start off our discussion with our number 5 most shocking moment. So for number 5, we agreed upon the appearance of what some have speculated to be the Kinrath beasts, and for those of you that aren't familiar with that, that was actually from Knights of the Old Republic. They were a creature that appeared in that video game, and since Star Wars Rebels has been attempting to canonize a lot of things that were essentially thrown out when Disney took over, Rebels has kind of taken it upon themselves to make a lot of these creatures canon again and to show us a lot of this, although I do want to bring up that it is not confirmed that that is what they are. They're just very similar. And so, Anthony, what did you think about the spider creatures that may or may not be Kinrath beasts?
Well, I thought they were a lot of fun. It's really cool to see kind of classic Star Wars where your group of heroes are fighting off just these strange creatures. And they were a cool adversary to the heroes because they had to figure out exactly how to fight them. There was just so many, and they eventually found out that their weakness was their eyes. It was the softest part of them, but their external shells were only really penetrable by lightsabers. But so when they would shoot them, there was no damage done. It was really fun to watch them go up against those guys.
Yeah, I thought it was really cool to see Sabine and Rex really go at it with the Kinrath beasts or the spider creatures in the beginning. I thought that was cool. Again, Kanan and Ezra fought them, and really this is going to play in a little more down the line, but Ezra had a lot of great development with the Kinrath beasts or the spiders. I don't know. I keep on calling them that, but it's not confirmed that that's what they are. They're just very similar to it. I think that there was a lot of development with them, and they served a good adversary for the episode. For number 4, we selected the different views as far as how the rebellion should be run between Hera and Kanan, and what we have essentially seen here is Kanan wants to go out and attack the Inquisitors. He's tired of running, and Hera has the different view that if you're basically going to go out and look for a big confrontation, you're going to meet it, and they want them all to be in one position in one spot where they can really establish the rebel base and focus on that. But Kanan is tired of running. He wants to confront the Inquisitors. He feels that Ezra is ready. They've been training, as we saw a lot in the beginning of the episode, and honestly, they're sick of running. They want to go confront the Inquisitors and get it over with. What are kind of your thoughts on their differing opinions, and what do you think they should do? Do you think that it would be better served if they remained on the base and kind of established that, or do you think it's time to get rid of this Inquisitor threat?
I think that what they should do is remain on the base. It's clear that Kanan is very eager to kind of face this challenge, but is most likely not ready. There was even that line that he had about the way you beat an Inquisitor is not by, winning the fight, it's just by surviving. But he's, like I said, he's kind of new at this. He's not very experienced, and he seems to be going into a battle that he may think that he's going to win. He may have this confidence that shouldn't really be there, and that might end them up in a lot of trouble.
Yeah, we've gotten from the description of the next episode, which is Twilight of the Apprentice. Of course, I think that refers to Ahsoka, pretty obviously. But it's kind of said that they do well against the Inquisitors in the description in the first episode, and then Vader arrives. And that's going to be the big lesson learned, that they didn't expect Vader to arrive. I'm sure that the Empire and Vader has a plan. Again, not a lot of Empire. In fact, no Empire in this episode.
Yeah, none.
Yeah, no mention of the Empire really. Well, they kind of talked about it a little bit, but they didn't really go into it, and no Imperial forces showed up. This was really focusing on our Rebels characters before we get our next big finale, which is next week. And like I said, I think that they're going to be prepared for the Inquisitors. We see that in a few of the teasers for the next episode, which is the season finale. We see Ezra, of course, training under Maul. I think they're going to really have an easy time with the Inquisitors, but as soon as Vader shows up, things are going to go downhill very quickly. So number 3 is really cool. It's really more of Ezra experimenting with the Force, which I think is a great thing to show. Ezra is trying the beast trick against these spider creatures, which we have seen him use before. He actually used it to defeat the Inquisitor in the first season, and it's something that's not really a super rare ability, but it's definitely something that takes time to master, and not every single Jedi can do it, especially Jedi Knights. I assume a lot of Masters have an affinity with it, but as far as someone on Ezra's level, who is still a Jedi Padawan, we saw Kanan just recently became a Knight, but it's very impressive. It's kind of showing us that he's experimenting, and really, he seems a little bit frustrated with his abilities, which isn't a good thing for a Jedi to have. A Jedi should strive to keep their abilities as on par with others as possible, and of course remain sharp, but they don't really crave that a lot of power, basically, is what Ezra kind of seems to be displaying as me. What do you think about that?
I really, really liked that scene, and I'm excited to see it come back in future episodes. I think it would be really cool to see him like hone this power and like take control of something really powerful, like some big creature. But my favorite part of the scene is when, after he didn't succeed, Ahsoka came up to him and said, it was like when we start to think we know a lot about the Force, we realize how little we actually know. And I think that's gonna go a long way in especially the next season, just when Ezra is trying to train and become more powerful, probably be on the dark side. And I think it was just cool to see him experimenting like that.
Yeah, it definitely is a cool thing to see. Ezra, like I said, he's got this natural ability with the Force, and his teachers, I would say they're not great teachers as far as what we've seen so far, is as far as Kanan. That's not a detriment to Kanan, by the way, because he wasn't able to complete his training really either. Like I said, he just barely became a Jedi Knight. He doesn't have the best teacher in the world. He just has a teacher that's really about on-the-spot training. He's nowhere near Obi-Wan Kenobi. I was actually talking with Anthony during the episode and saying, man, Obi-Wan would never have stood for Anakin talking back the way Ezra talks back to Kanan, which I kind of like, honestly, because it shows that inexperience. Like I said, it's not a detriment at all. But yeah, Ezra trying out some new abilities, definitely a good thing. So number 2, I also find to be a great little addition that is building blocks for the next episode, and that shows that Ezra has a really aggressive streak in him, especially towards the Inquisitor, and I assume the Seventh Sister, which is the one he's really formed a rivalry with this season. He really does not like the Inquisitors, and he says the goal is for Inquisitor blood. He wants an Inquisitor dead, and he wants that opportunity. What did you think?
Yeah, this is clearly going to be what Darth Maul is going to abuse when he finally meets Ezra. He's going to convince him that the dark side is where he wants to be, because then he could actually pursue these feelings of hatred towards these certain people, and in this case it being the Inquisitors. And I think we're going to see a lot of Inquisitors dying soon. I think Ezra's going to go pretty crazy, and I think Darth Maul is going to help him every step of the way.
Wow, that's a really bold estimation or prediction. I definitely think that we could see an Inquisitor death in the next episode. Maybe not Ezra. I think that once Ezra really gets pushed to that point where he has the ability to kill an Inquisitor, he might back down a little bit, but that's not to say further down the line he wouldn't be open to it. He really needs to take his first steps into the dark side. Like, he's taken a few steps into the light side of the Force, and then once Maul is introduced, and after seeing this episode, I'm almost certain that they're going to want to pursue this dark side of Ezra, because they're setting it up really masterfully, and really, this episode, strangely enough, has kind of convinced me that Maul is here to stay, at least for a few more episodes, to kind of show us the dark side of Ezra. I honestly don't see Maul dying off in the next episode.
Yeah, the last thing they should do is kill off Maul right now, because we've just got him back, and let's keep him here for a little while, because Darth Maul is such an underused character, and I think that right now where they have him is just the perfect spot to continue his story, and I would certainly not want to see him die anytime soon.
Yeah, his role will definitely be as kind of the person that wants to seduce Ezra to the dark side, and for good reason, for goals of his own, and it seems like Ezra really is willing to be taught in ways in the dark side. Especially by this episode, I see a whole lot of similarities between how Anakin felt and how Ezra is now feeling, although strangely enough, it seems like Ezra may even be in a better position to learn from the dark side than Anakin ever was, which is not a very comforting thought. In fact, it's a very dark thought. So the last one, and I think this is pretty much universally the most interesting thing in the episode, is contention between Ezra and Kanan. They, like I said earlier, they really seem to be going back and forth. More so, Ezra seems to be taking a few blows at Kanan, but Kanan also seems to be pretty aggressive himself. They're not really getting along. their relationship right now is kind of forming into not what I would call a very wise master-apprentice relationship. In fact, Ezra, he's really talking back a lot, and he's showing that he is aggressive and that he wants blood, and Kanan might not be able to stand in his way, and they don't really seem to be having a lot of fun. In the beginning, Ezra seems like he's having a lot of fun dueling with Kanan, but Kanan really gets very serious, and that honestly shakes Ezra a little bit and makes him get a little more serious, and they honestly seem like they could come into conflict with each other, not anywhere in this season or in the next season, but possibly even down the line, season 4, Ezra and Kanan, their relationship breaks off, and they don't really seem to agree with each other. They are really sowing the seeds of that right now. They're not getting along. Their training is going very shakily in this episode, and I think that honestly Ezra has all the ability in the world to take out the Inquisitors. It's just the problem here where it's not necessarily a problem with how powerful he is. It's a problem with, will he be able to contain himself? What do you think?
Yeah, Ezra is surely displaying a lot of confidence when they're training, and Kanan is kind of weary about it because as Ezra thinks he's winning the fight, Kanan's showing them, no, you're actually losing the fight. And there's that really great moment when Ezra turns around to talk to the other rebels, and then Kanan goes after him and says, don't turn your back on an enemy. And he's like, since when are you my enemy? Which I think is clear foreshadowing on where these characters are going to end up. And I think they are going to be coming to blows sometime in the near future. Probably not in the next episode, but it's really cool to see their relationship kind of straining apart, and I think it's partially due to Ezra having this weird pull to the dark side, and just like the lack of real Jedi training. Right now, Kanan doesn't really know how to do this. He has a little experience, but they're in a time where there is no real Jedi Order, where they have these very strict rules on how to, interact with each other. It's very kind of just guesswork, and I think it's
loose.
Yeah, it's very loose. So I think that it's going to come into really cool relationship dynamics in the future.
Yeah, I agree. They don't know how to keep. Kanan, to his credit, he's done a great job with what he has. I think,
absolutely.
Even taking an apprentice in the first place, which was a big task, he's done a great job with Ezra. As far as his combative abilities go, Ezra's great. He's really great, and I think that was also displayed in this episode. And Ezra and Kanan, man, their abilities are becoming on par with each other, which I found particularly shocking. Like, Ezra was like a tie again, and for someone like Kanan to be tying consistently with Ezra, I mean, Ezra is clearly more gifted than Kanan, I think.
Yeah, and there was a great line, too, after he said the, a tie again, and then Kanan was like, you don't tie in a real battle, you die. I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah, so that's basically our thoughts on the episode. Overall, pretty good. Wasn't a huge episode as far as the scope of it, but it gave us a lot of character stuff leading up to the finale. Again, we have to remember we have Vader in the finale, Maul in the finale, all the Inquisitors, Ahsoka and Vader confronting each other. So what this review is it's kind of like a precursor to that, because in all honesty, the reason for making this video is I didn't want to release my review of the next episode and just have it be a shock, and you guys have no idea that I wanted to do Rebels reviews. So I apologize that we didn't hop on this earlier. I certainly will do this in Season 3 with every single episode. I hope you guys enjoyed this more of a discussion format, and leave in the comments what you guys thought of the episode, and thank you to Anthony for joining me here.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I certainly enjoyed it, so go ahead and tell us what you guys think. May the Force be with you, and have a great day. Thanks for watching the video. Don't forget to subscribe and follow me on Twitter for updates on the channel. We also have a Patreon if you'd like to help contribute to the channel and gain access to some special features. Click the annotations on screen to watch my previous video or a mystery video. Links for all are in the description down below. May the Force be with you, and have a great day.